it's Debbie with Creation Zone. Today I thought we would do paper cone. I tried to do this video on Valentine's Day, and I had made these paper cones for my daughters for Valentine's Day, and for some reason, that video just wasn't meant to happen. So I'm going to redo it. They're not going to be Valentine's ones, of course, because that's long gone. So we're going to make a birthday one. And for this project, what you need is a 12 by 12 sheet of our designer series paper. I am using the Pacific Point two-sided paper from our designer series paper stack, the Brights collection. What I like about these cones is you don't have to cut anything. Basically, all you have to do is roll your two corners to a point, okay? And what you do is you just keep playing with this a little bit, kind of breaking the fibers down in the paper. And this way, eventually, what will happen is it'll make it a lot easier. It'll make it a lot easier to roll. Now, what you have to decide is which side of the paper that you're going to use. I'm going to use the polka dotted side, and we're just going to make this one a birthday cone. Okay, so once you play with that for a little while, what you're going to do is you're going to add a piece of sticky strip along this long edge right here. Once you fold this over and you get it to where you like it, okay, that's what's going to secure the cone in place. Sticky strip is an aggressive adhesive, so anytime I'm doing a box or any kind of dimensional project like this, then I use sticky strip because I know it's not going to go anywhere. Once it's down, it's down. If you try to reposition it, once in a blue moon, you get lucky, but most of the time, you're going to rip your paper. You hear the baby in the background trying to get her to take a nap, so we're working on that right now. So you just go ahead and bend these over. Line them up. And it's okay if it has a little hole in the bottom. What I usually do is I usually stick some tissue paper down there, so if you're going to put anything in there, any kind of small objects, the tissue paper will help it. You can get that a little closer though if you work with it. For time's sake, I'm not going to worry too much about it. So there we have the basis of our cone. Now, one of the cool things that you can do with these is you can add ribbon around the top. On the ones that I made for my daughters, I did like a paper ribbon, which was really cool. I'll have to show you that in another video. This one I'm just going to make very basic. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of ribbon, and I will be right back. Okay, I went and I got some ribbon. And I'm leaving it on the spool because the type of design I'm doing on here is more of a shabby chic look. So I just wanted to show you how I did that. You just basically bunch the ribbon up as best as you can. Just do the last little bit here. And the only thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to add another piece of sticky strip right towards the end. Somebody's not happy back there. Put another piece of sticky strip right over this area. And then you can just continue the little bunching thing that we got going on. And then just cut the ribbon. These are not my scissors for ribbon cutting, but you get the idea. So basically, that's what it looked like all the way around, okay? And then at the top, I just made a loop. It's the same piece of ribbon, I just made a loop, so if we wanted to hang it up, we could. Okay, so that's how the ribbon looks. And you just wrap the sticky strip all the way around, okay? And then that's what's going to hold that securely in place, all right? All right, so the next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to put a medallion right here. I call them medallions. I don't know really what they're called. How these are made, I'm trying to get this one to dry because I've already made this. Basically, I made these out of another piece of the designer series paper in the same stack. But in this instance, I used the Real Red, and I cut a 2-inch strip. Okay, and then what you do is you go every 1/2 inch and you score. So you can score this however you want to score it. I use my trimmer a lot and just score 1/2 inch and move it to 1, score, move it to 1.5, score, move it to 2, score, and you do that down the whole strip. And what you end up with, this isn't a 2-inch strip, but this is just my example for you. Then you basically will fan fold it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So once this is done, you want to do 2 strips like this, and then you will tape them together, and then when you open it, you secure the ends here. This one is because it's only 1 strip, it's only going to be 1/2 of the medallion. But I'll show you. Basically, opens up like a fan like this. So when there's 2 together, you get the full circle, like so. Then you secure it with a piece of red line tape or sticky strip. And then in the center here, what I did was I took some of my top 10 favorite mono adhesive, and I put a little dab in the center. And what that helps it do is it just helps it stay closed. What these are going to want to do once you get them all folded is they want to just pop up on you. So you just put a little bit of that glue on there, put something heavy on top of it, just set it aside, let it do its thing. And I'm going to continue to let that one dry on the side. Okay, so in the meanwhile, what we're going to do is we're going to make the centerpiece for our medallion. And the way I'm doing that is I wanted something, since it's a birthday cone, I wanted something in the middle of this. Okay, so there's going to be something here to represent this birthday. And I thought I would use the Take a Spin stamp set. This is an Our Occasions Mini. Okay, we've got the square, which you would cut out with just your paper trimmer, and the circle ones coordinate with our 2.5-inch circle punch, which we'll be using. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to use my embossing buddy, and I want to just make sure there's no static on my paper. Because I'm going to emboss this so I get that real vibrant look from the embossing powder. Using a Versamark pad, you just want to ink your image up and stamp it on your paper. Okay, I'm going to bring in my embossing powder. And what I do is I put all my embossing powders in salt and pepper shakers. There's a lot of, everybody does it a little bit differently, but when I travel with them, it's easier for me. It's less bulk. So then I just sprinkle this on there. The only thing when you use a salt and pepper shaker like this, what you have to remember is when you go to put the embossing powder back into your container, you want to make sure you open it over the tray because a little bit of it will get caught in the cap. Okay, and then I would just put this back in the tray like this. Or back in the bottle, back in the tray. Okay, and when I travel with them, a friend of mine had a really good idea, and she punches out a circle punch, and she puts it in the lid so they don't leak when you're traveling with them. So thanks, Miss Ruth Colombo, for that tip. Okay, now you're going to bring this in, and we're going to emboss this quickly. I tend to leave my embossing gun in one place until I start seeing it go, and then I start moving it around. You just want to make sure not to overheat the embossing powder. Okay, so that's done. Although when you do overheat your embossing powder, you get a completely different look, and there's actually a name for that. Okay, just want to let this dry just a little bit. what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some markers that coordinate with my project, which is the Pacific Point marker, Wild Wasabi, Real Red, and Tangerine Tango. And I'm going to add some color, but I have to wait for this to cool off just a second. The really neat things about the Take a Spin stamp set is we sell the game spinners. So what we'll be doing once our dial is done is we'll be adding a game spinner to it. And there's little washers and brads. So it's a real working spinner. That's what you would get in that. So we'll be doing that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of color to these using the Stampin' Write markers, just quickly. It's really easy to color when you emboss something. Just takes on that color so much easier. Oops. Probably should use some lighter colors on that. Maybe Bashful Blue would have looked better because the Tangerine Tango. I like that, except for the Pacific Point. I think that's a little too dark, so I think I'm going to redo this in the Bashful Blue. But I wanted to give you the idea. Okay, so I will redo that one and put a little bit of a lighter color on that so it doesn't sink in. All right, so what we would do at that point is, as a matter of fact, you know what, I'm going to make another one and I'll come right back with you with the new one made.